Coming up on WUFT's First at 5, we're following up on a homicide investigation in Marion County after a 14-year-old boy was found dead.
And a new initiative aimed at hearing the community's needs to improve area cities.
Deceptive ballot mailers are back in full swing in Alachua County as the election is fast approaching, and community leaders are speaking up.
First at 5, from the University of Florida's College of Journalism and Communications, you're watching WUFT News.
A 14-year-old boy was found dead last night in Marion County. Detectives continue to investigate what they're ruling a homicide. I'm Kirsten Maselka.
And I'm Nick Diaz. We're live from the Marion County Sheriff's Office with WUFT's Charlize Ramos, who joins us live in Marion County. She has been following this story closely today.
Deputies arrived in a Marion Oaks neighborhood at around 6:30 on Wednesday after a neighbor reported hearing gunshots. When authorities arrived to the scene, they said they found 14-year-old Marshawn Jones with a gunshot wound. Authorities are looking for answers. They've spoken to potential witnesses and family members trying to figure out what led to this incident. Right now, there isn't a lot of information. That's why we're told sharing this with the public is vital. Those who know Jones told authorities that there is a void where he used to be.
Today, somewhere in a classroom, there's an empty desk, that he's not sitting in. So there's a lot of folks, a lot of his peers that are affected by this.
Marion County Public School officials said Jones registered to attend Horizon Academy but never showed. Again, right now detectives say that details are slim, so they are asking anyone with any information to please call the Marion County Sheriff's Office. For now, live in Marion County, Charlize Ramos, WUFT News.
Leads are still being followed on a 50-year-old cold case in Dixie County by the Florida Department of Law Enforcement. They are now asking for the public's help on cracking the case. The 1974 homicide of 24-year-old James Norris is believed to be one of the oldest active homicide investigations in Florida. Just one piece of information from what investigators believe can come from someone in Miami, Panama City, Steinhatchee, or Citrus County may break this case wide open. Norris may have been known to people as Richard Gunning at the time of his murder. After 50 years, Norris's family is still working with law enforcement on the investigation. If you have any information about the murder of James Norris, contact FDLE Tallahassee at 800-342-0820.
An Archer man is behind bars for life for capital sexual battery. Tuesday's two-day trial and sentencing hearing for State of Florida versus Michael Kent Midden has come to an end. In September of 2023, Midden was investigated for child abuse allegations from a report made at the UF Shands Pediatric Hospital after a child came for a medical evaluation with their mother. The Alachua County Sheriff's Office found that Midden was serving as a custodial adult and abused that child that was in his care at the time. He was arrested for sexual battery with injury on a person under 12 years old.
Alachua County's Future Focus initiative aims to improve infrastructure, economic development, and enhance the quality of life. WUFT's Valentina Sandoval joins us live in the studio to tell us cities like Hawthorne want to see expansions that cater to local businesses, farmers, and children's education.
The people I interviewed say they don't want to see their small town overlooked. They're ready for an investment in educational spaces, recreational spaces, and infrastructure in general to enhance the city. Amanda Good loves serving her community, and she'd love to see more invested into the community she serves.
I don't think that we have a lot of community things for the kids to do. As a mom, that's a big thing for me.
Around the corner at the Wrap Shack, Karen Whitney wants to change, but not so big that it takes the flair away.
There's a lot of country folk that like it small, and they like being able to, we go out and watch the stars at night, and when it gets built up too much, you can't see that.
Alachua County Forward Focus Initiative will survey the needs of the county's 11 rural clusters, in addition to Hawthorne, Waldo, Micanopy, and the unincorporated communities of Monteocha, Melrose, and Island Grove.
The County Commission will be meeting here tonight at Hawthorne Middle and High School to discuss with the community the initiative and hear some feedback.
This takes the community. We need to hear from the community, and we want this to be from the community and build up. We're here to help, not to tell them what they need or how it's going to happen, but to really listen.
Alachua County Assistant Manager Missy Daniels says this will happen in 3 phases over 3 years.
Tonight kicks off the first phase of the Forward Focus initiative with the community profile, then the economic and social services assessment, and the final report. Looking at our beautiful Paynes Prairie traffic cam, we can see clear skies through and through, but this nice scenery is going to come with cooler temperatures. WUFT reporter Matthew Clark is here to tell us more of how we can expect these temperatures to develop.
Yeah, so right now we're in the 80s, but as we wake up tomorrow morning, we're going to be waking up in the 50s again, which is pretty cold. But you can see there's not even a cloud in the sky right now overlooking our campus cam. Looking off to the west, not a cloud in sight as well. It's going to be a beautiful sunset tonight, I'll tell you that. Temperatures for the rest of our area, we are in the lower 80s for the most part, 83 over in Ocala, 83 in Bronson, and 82 over in Cedar Key. These temperatures are going to start to drop as we head into the overnight hours, and when we're waking up on our Friday morning, temperatures are going to be in the 50s. See 59 in Gainesville, 58 in Lake City, and 59 up in Live Oak. So if you're going to class in the morning or you have work in the morning, it's going to be pretty chilly tomorrow when you're waking up. Cold temperatures, but we're going to get nice by noon.
New mobile USPS units are helping deliver backlog mail to areas whose delivery routes were impacted by the recent hurricanes. USPS announced 2 mobile mail sites in Cedar Key and Suwannee as their next step in restoring mail service to affected towns. The units will temporarily take over mail distribution for the 4 offices that are still closed due to hurricane damage. USPS says their team is working to repair a significant backlog of deliveries, but it will take time to restore full service to Florida's west coast. The Florida Fish and Wildlife Conservation Commission is addressing the hundreds of vessels displaced by Hurricane Helene and Milton. Some were pushed ashore, others damaged in the residing marinas, and a few are fully sunken. Officers and vessel specialists are currently locating, identifying, and investigating the boats that were displaced due to the storms. To report or lost a sunken vessel, owners can call the FWC Boating and Waterway section at 850-488-5600. Operators are available from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
A new poll has good news and bad for both presidential candidates as each prepares to make their closing statement as the election wraps up. Vice President Harris campaigns with star surrogate former President Barack Obama and the boss, Bruce Springsteen. Meanwhile, former President Trump heads to the border to deliver his message on immigration. NBC's Bree Jackson has details in Washington.
Closing arguments coming into focus in the closing weeks of the presidential race.
Our country deserves to have a president of the United States who is not afraid of good ideas and does not stand on pride.
We are going to have the biggest victory in the history of our country on November 5th.
Throughout his campaign, former President Trump has made immigration a key issue. His plans include resuming construction of the border wall and reinstating a policy which forces asylum seekers to remain in Mexico while awaiting court dates.
We will stop illegal immigration once and for all. It will be ended.
As campaigning winds down, Vice President Harris's warnings are growing stronger.
What we must understand will happen starting on January 20th in this choice. Either you have the choice of a Donald Trump who will sit in the Oval Office, stewing, plotting revenge, retribution, writing out his enemies list.
Harris taking her message a step further with plans to deliver her closing argument on the National Mall Tuesday from the same area where Mr. Trump gave his speech on January 6th ahead of the attack at the U.S. Capitol.
And we're going to the Capitol.
The Harris campaign also rolling out a series of concerts, including a scheduled appearance in Texas with Beyonce, whose song Freedom has become the campaign's anthem. Mr. Trump will also be in the Lone Star State Friday, doing an interview with podcasting giant Joe Rogan. Both candidates relying on star power to get out the vote as the race remains neck and neck. In Washington, Bree Jackson, NBC News.
Early voting is in full swing in Florida, and people are hitting the polls. According to the Alachua County Supervisor of Election website, more than 38,000 people have voted, either at an early voting location or by mail. Roughly 51% of the ballots have been Democratic, while 30% Republican, and 16% have been no party affiliation. In Marion County, around 67,000 people have cast their votes, with about 30% of the ballots being Democratic, 52% Republican, and 14% unaffiliated.
While the main policies on this year's Florida ballot are abortion rights and marijuana use, 2 policy measures on public financing of campaigns and property taxes are flying under the radar. These come in the form of 2 proposed money amendments for the state. Amendment 5 would Florida's homestead property tax exemption, and Amendment 6 would end a matching funds program for governor and cabinet seat candidates to pull from. Florida Democratic Party Chairwoman Nikki Fried supports keeping the matching fund program, noting it helped her when she was elected Agriculture Commissioner in 2018.
Me the opportunity to get some additional funds at the end that put an extra couple points onto TV, that gave me some extra flexibility on some of my spend, that pushed me over the finish line.
Under the program, candidates can receive matches for individual contributions of $250 or less. For the homestead exemption, the proposal would give state homeowners slightly larger property tax breaks.
A wave of deceptive mailers has continued to sweep through Alachua County, and now the NAACP is in the mix. New mailers this week claim the NAACP supports a no vote on at-large districts in the county, even though they support a yes vote. Election day is only a few weeks away, and Alachua County community leaders want you to be aware of these misleading mailers. These are what some of them looked like from previous election years. The same political action committee responsible for this year's round of mail released these the last election cycle.
Coming up on First at 5, we're going to get a live look at the Gainesville Truck or Treat event and more on how the city of Gainesville and the University of Florida's Greek Life are getting ready for Halloween.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
The city of Gainesville is hosting its annual Screaming for Safety Trunk or Treat event right now.
Kids can enjoy a costume contest, collect candy, and play games. Let's have a look at the festivities live from Gainesville Fire Rescue Headquarters. As we can see at the Gainesville Health booth, kids are lining up to participate in some events, and it looks like that kid is dressed as a spooky ghost. Events like this give local businesses the chance to share their services and resources with the community and gives families an opportunity to head out and celebrate. If you want to head over, you still have time. The event ends at 7 p.m.
The University of Florida is getting into the Halloween spirit, especially with their seasonal event from last night. Ghouls, Goblins, and Greeks is a spooky celebration getting the Gainesville community ready for Halloween early. UF's Greek organizations hosted this event, combining costumes, candy, and community service. The event featured games, trick-or-treating booths, and entertainment for kids and their families. Children trick-or-treated around Sorority Row, going house to house, meeting different UF students.
It's nice to see all the kids because, I mean, we're on a college campus, you don't see that many kids around. So it's kind of like, oh yeah, I forget I live in like Gainesville that has kids, and so it's just helpful to see that there's a bigger world outside of college.
Organizers hoped this event would help take holiday stress off parents. Every year, families can plan to attend Ghouls, Goblins, and Greeks to get in the holiday spirit early. A Gainesville church supporting others with its pumpkin patch, Buy a Pumpkin Feed a Child, is collecting donations and selling more than 100 pumpkins. The money from every pumpkin bought goes directly to local and global communities in need. Pastor Chris Christopoulos says your contribution makes a real difference.
We think that the community comes out and supports this, helps us to be able to do much more than we'd be able to do just by ourselves individually or just as with our church. The whole community gets involved, and I think it makes a huge impact, not only here locally, but around the world.
The patch also features bounce houses, cornhole, and a football toss. The patch is free to enter and open through the month of October.
This Saturday is National DEA Prescription Drug Take-Back Day. This year, Levy and Gilchrist County are hosting collection sites for community members to dispose of their unwanted, unused, or expired prescription meds. Levy County and deputies and police officers from the Williston and Chiefland Police Departments will be collecting at the sites you see on the screen. Additionally, Gilchrist County will have a collection site at Trenton Train Depot. The collections are free and confidential. The stations will be open from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. this Saturday. Mayor Harvey Ward is presenting a key to the city to the members of the HOG Water Music Band today. The punk rock band is being awarded for their contributions to the punk rock scene and its role in increasing Gainesville's international music status. The mayor has named today Hot Water Music Day in the band's honor. The ceremony will be held at City Hall at 6 p.m. Catch the band at Bo Diddley Plaza tonight and tomorrow for the Gainesville's Fest Musical Festival.
Hurricane Christine is off in the Eastern Pacific, but all is quiet in the Atlantic. I will have our tropical update and more coming up after the break.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
Happy Thursday. Category 5 Hurricane Christine is off in the eastern Pacific Ocean off the coast of Mexico. Just showing this just because of how beautiful of a storm it is. It's going to be pose a threat to land or anywhere, just a sea storm. Now this is in the eastern Pacific, so it is a different storm name system. So we've already had our K here in the Atlantic. Our next name storm would be a P name, which would end up being Patty if or when a storm comes through. Now this is valid through next Thursday through Halloween. There is nothing going on in the Western Caribbean or in the Gulf of Mexico. All is quiet. But the American GFS model does have something getting picked up as it starts to move into next week. We could be seeing Patty, not here in our area necessarily, but we could see another named storm formed south of Cuba late next week into next weekend. So it's going to just be something to keep an eye on. So just the key takeaways, no storm yet, nothing even there right now. Storm could develop in early November, just to expect changes. This is just a forecast model, not a set forecast. It could change a bunch of times. Here though in Gainesville, it's a beautiful sunny day out there right now, not a cloud in sight. Temperature 83 degrees overlooking the west side of campus. It's even more beautiful with a sunset set in stone for tonight. 83 degrees in Gainesville, 83 in Stark, and 86 over in Jacksonville. For the most part, it's going to be a beautiful Thursday evening as we drop those temperatures. And once the sun sets, we're going to drop those temperatures into the lower 60s in the overnight hours. It's going to be a really chilly morning when we're waking up on Friday as well. 59 degrees in Gainesville, 58 in Lake City, and 58 in High Springs. So if you're on your way to work in the morning, it could be pretty chilly as you're waking up. Now, as we start to head into tomorrow afternoon, it's going to be very nice out by noon, just reaching south of the 80s and then reaching up into the mid 80s by 4 p.m. Going to be a very warm and sunny Friday afternoon, setting up for a picture perfect weekend out there. Great time to go outside for a walk or do something on your Saturday or Sunday with temperatures reaching up just into the 80s. It's going to be super nice out there. Also, those dew points on our muggy meter, moisture in the atmosphere, going to be staying below that human mark on Saturday and Sunday. Usually we're in the 70s. It's usually very unbearable. Now, next week is Halloween. We got a little cat and dog down here celebrating Halloween. Temperature is going to be up in the 80s, around low 60s on our Halloween. But for the rest of the week, you can see that for the most part, we're going to be in those 80s. Also going to be seeing some low 60s as we're heading throughout the week. Going to be a very nice week as we head into Sunday and Monday.
Coming up in sports, we've got a full slate ahead from high school sports to the college level. The road to states in high school volleyball has been shaken up, and the Gators season is coming down to the wire. That and more when we come back.
You're watching WUFT-TV News.
It's time to talk some sports. I'm Jesse Simmons. The climb to the state championship has narrowed in high school volleyball and has a huge upset took place right here in our backyard on Wednesday night. South Fork High School, the 8th seed in the 5A playoffs, came into the 3-5-2 to face a Goliath in the top seed, Gainesville Hurricanes at home. The Bulldogs came in at 12-12 on the season, while the Hurricanes were 15-8. Keyword were, as South Fork pulled off a straight set sweep to move on to the next round. It started with a strong first set, 25-20, followed up with a tight punch-for-punch round in set 2 led by South Fork's outside hitter Brianna Berg to take the second set 27-25. Gainesville tried to stick around, but it wasn't enough as the Bulldogs sent Gainesville packing and to move on to face the 2-seed Middleburg on Saturday at 5. Gainesville fell, but Santa Fe High School as strong as ever heading into the 4A regional semifinal. The 3-seed Raiders moved to 20-7 after handling the 6-seed Satellite Scorpions 3-1. Santa Fe moves on to a big matchup with the 2-seed Merritt Island Mustangs that hold a huge record of 22-5. Saturday's game will be at 2 o'clock. Looking over to the pitch, Gators soccer is closing in on its last few games of the regular season in hopes for a push into the SEC tournament. With just 3 games left, all being conference matchups, the Gators are fighting for their playoff lives with a 4-5-6 record on the season. It's been a struggle to stay afloat for Samantha Bohan's team as they haven't won a matchup in over 3 weeks. But it's a new day with a new opportunity. Florida hits the road to face the Crimson Tide tonight at 8 o'clock. But it doesn't get any easier from here on out, with Bama having double wins than Florida at 8-4-5 on this season. Gators men's basketball continues to ramp up, emerging in the preseason rankings at 21st in the AP poll in the nation and 6th in the SEC. Head coach Todd Golden and his new additions to the starting 5 look to surprise some people in a new season come November 4th.
You know, for what we're trying to do and where we're trying to go, it really doesn't mean much in the big picture. So great starting point again to be in this league and to be, I think we got pick 6, which again is a little bit of a compliment. You know, it's a great league with 16 teams now. But starting point, long-term goals are two completely different things. And
in Golden's third season, he'll look to add on to an already impressive record with Gator Nation. With a 42-29 record in a March Madness berth that ended in a heartbreaker to Colorado last season in the first round, this could be a breakthrough season for the Orange and Blue. Thursday night football features the Los Angeles Rams and the Minnesota Vikings. But we have an even more important guy on Thursday with the Gators here.
Hey.
Happy birthday, Mike, or Matthew. Excuse me, sorry.
Thank you guys. Well, I'm looking forward to the weather.
We're back here tomorrow for another edition of First at 5.
For your North Central Florida news is always on at WUFT.org and on all our social media platforms. Have a good night.